So the reason why you are struggling to sell your 5 to 50K plus service online is because most digital marketing is built to sell cheap things to a lot of people. And obviously that model breaks when the decision itself is over £5,000. So you can't run an ad directly to a commitment, whether that's book a call, get a quote, schedule a consultation, because a 30-second ad cannot build what's required for a prospect who's never seen you before to simply book, for example, 30-minute discovery call with genuine high intent. Okay. And even if you do get bookings, they all arrive skeptical, hesitant, and might not even show up at all. Another one here is you can't hide behind stock footage and AI, because the prospect's trust and brand perception will tank, because that's everything they see currently online in today's marketplace. And you cannot optimize for cost per lead over lead intent, right? So if you're selling a £5,000 plus service, it means you're selling to a very specific group of qualified individuals. You can't prioritize the algorithm to go after these cheap clicks, engagement, and every single form fill you get, because inevitably they're going to skew who these algorithms put your ads in front of. And finally, you cannot look cheap, okay? Because even with a exceptional service, a low quality digital presence triggers immediate skepticism in those high ticket buyers who equate your online detail with the quality of your actual real life work. So here are some symptoms of an incomplete digital ad setup for high ticket services. So number one is you or your sales team's weak. It's packed with calls, but 80% of them are people who just want to know more, but ultimately, are completely unaligned. Two is you find yourself constantly compared to cheaper alternatives rather than being seen as the logical choice. Number three is you're dealing with no-shows and online conversations that require heavy persuasion and justifications compared to the ease of referral-based clients. Number four here is you're seeing a high cost per action with a frustratingly low inquiry count, okay? So ultimately, a 50K client, for example, doesn't buy because they saw a single ad. They buy because they've crossed a threshold of certainty. So if your market requires deep trust, total clarity, relatable proof, familiarity, and outcome alignment, here's what must be true to turn online into a predictable, scalable source of £5,000 plus buyers. We need to solve for three things. Number one is the ability to get in front of your market repeatably at scale. And number two is the ability to build the trust and confidence required for that prospect to self-select and progress, whether that's taking an action like inquiring, booking, whatever. And number three is the ability to get prospects decision ready before a call/conversation occurs. We add these together and we get the high ticket digital buyer journey. Okay, we're taking people from completely unaware you exist all the way to a decision-ready, qualified individual. So if we solve first for number one, which is attention, we have paid ads because they are the fastest to access your total addressable market. They can reach maximum views and eyeballs per day, but come at the cost of lower trust. So because of this, we don't sell through ads, right? We leverage ads for their ability to maximize market visibility repeatably. So we solve for trust separately. Okay, so high ticket buyers aren't prioritizing, all the time best prices. They favor low risk and their desired outcome to be certain. So if we look into the psychology of high ticket trust, number one is associated proof, right? They want to see real results from someone in their current position. Peer experience, they want somebody who's experienced it to articulate it in their own words. Number three is demonstrated authority. You want to build status in your market. Number four is perceived outcome certainty. And this therefore gives them full clarity and eliminates any sort of confusion, because confusion does breed doubt. And number five, which is arguably the most important, is micro familiarity, right? So trust compounds with time spent. So here are some examples of what we could use asset-wise for these 5 points. So for example, with associated proof, you could direct prospects to a vertical case study. And this again is not just result, but a completely transparent documented process from start to end. For peer experience, you could include an unfiltered client interview, which is just a 5 to 10 minute recording of a sit down with a past client. Demonstrated authority could be a live presentation. Okay, so footage of you speaking at an industry event or hosting a round table. And perceived outcome certainty could be a process breakdown diagram, or ideally video-based walkthrough of, for example, your 3 to 5 step methodology. And then to take a prospect from unaware you exist to high-paying client, it's never a single event. So for micro familiarity, the example mechanism could be that you run ads to each one of these trust building assets. And what happens is, instead of a single ad to an instant commitment, like we said, whether that's book a call, get a quote, schedule a consultation, the prospect is fed a sequence over time. So they might see an ad to your presentation, which is, educational and valuable. Once the prospect has consumed that, they now perceive you as authority in the space. And then they might see an ad that's a case study breakdown. So now the prospect associates you with their desired outcome. Then they might get fed an ad which which is more process based and more of a breakdown of exactly how you work. So the prospect comes away from that with complete clarity and clear expectations on what they would expect if they were to work with you. And finally, they might see a client-based interview. So therefore, the prospect lowers perceived risks due to you now being technically pre-vetted by others like them. So you can see how as they come down this journey, they're continuing to build trust, see you as an authority, and gain a certain level of certainty that you are the solution to their problem. Finally, solving for decision readiness. So the goal here is to ensure that by the time the first conversation occurs, prospects arrive with complete and total conviction and intent to move forward. We are continuing to build upon the momentum we've already built. So we do this by reinforcing belief in authority and remove any sort of friction from showing up and progressing on the call itself. So an example here is you might have a thank you page that just treats a booking as an exit. So you might say, thank you for booking, see you Tuesday, or something like that. And instead, ideally, we want to build the page around setting expectations for the call and increasing perceived value of what they're going to get on the call itself. So it can include what you'll cover on the call, how long it takes, what they'll walk away with, which is really important, short case studies, before and afters, etc. And you can even give them more assets to go off and consume before the call itself. Another example is value stacked sequences. Again, beyond reminders, every touch point between the booking and a call is another critical opportunity you can use to reduce the prospect's perceived risk and compound the micro familiarity, right? So instead of just sending basic reminders, you must build a sequence that continues to deliver consumable, valuable assets that build upon the trust and authority already established. So examples of this could be emails, where we want to ensure your copy feels personalized and peer-to-peer rather than a robotic system notification, letting them know their call is coming up at X time, right? So another one is repurpose your current core trust building assets you've already got built into emails that you send out in a sequence prior to the call, and clearly define the value the prospect's going to get from the upcoming conversation. Like we said earlier, tell them exactly what's going to be covered, what they need to prepare, and exactly what they're going to walk away with. And one more example here is pre-call authority-based ads. So we want booked leads to continue to experience you as the authority in the days before the call, but not really as an ad, but more as a familiar, credible presence. So what you can do is use low friction, high value clips that keep you familiar and top of mind to the prospect. So it could just be a podcast clip. It could just be a clip of a longer form video, longer form education-based video. That sort of thing will continue to build that trust and familiarity with you and ensure the friction to get on that call is as low as possible. By the time you say hi on the call, they've already spent what could be an extra 30 minutes with you. So their belief is therefore reinforced passively. So the true role of ads for high ticket is not to convert through the ad, right? The job of an ad is to get in front of your market, position you as an authority, create familiarity, spark intrigue, and then hand off to assets that can convert. So if you want, I do offer a simple digital diagnostic. It's where I map your current buyer journey end to end to show you step by step where the chain could potentially be breaking, where quality might be dropping, and what's currently blocking predictable growth and client acquisition from digital and online platforms. Okay, there's no pitch, there's no obligation. You'll leave with complete clarity you can use immediately, whether we work together or not. And I'll just leave a link below in the description where you can schedule the diagnostic.